So what's up guys, welcome again to Kanji Club. Today we are going to continue how to write Hiragana. We have already talked in the previous videos how to write the A line, the vowels, the K line, the kakiko keko, the C line, the S line, sashi su seso, the T line, the chi tsu tseto, the N line, nani no neno, and today we're gonna talk about the Ha line, ha, hi, fu, he, ho. Okay. So as we said in the previous video, we need to correlate the hiragana letters with the midline, and we have to be careful how these strokes are related to each other. Okay. This way you will keep your writing organized. You will keep your writing organized in a straight line, whether vertical or horizontal. So ha, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. As we said before, knowing the stroke order only will not be enough to write neatly. So 1, 2, and 3. This is the third stroke. 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you notice, if you draw here the midline, first you have to draw the first imaginary line and second imaginary line, and the vertical middle line is in the middle. So the space here and the space here between these imaginary lines are almost equal. This way you will keep the balance. So first, almost on the imaginary first line, almost parallel to the midline. Okay, and then once I'm in the midline, to keep that distance, okay, I start my my second stroke. I keep like 2/3 to 1/3, 2/3 to 1/3. Okay, and then if there is an imaginary line here, I start the tip of my third line. Now when I will draw this is kind of a triangle on a circle. Okay, it's not a fully circle as we said. So when we draw it, when we bend it, the tip of the end will be on the imaginary line here. Okay, so we have here as if imaginary line and imaginary line here, and they are the equal distance from the midline, and this way this will control the end. Okay, so guys, it's easy once you know how to balance your hiragana letters, especially when you have multiple strokes. So 1 and 2 and 3, 2/3 and 3. Okay, the tip of the second stroke and this circular or a triangle on a circle on the midline. Okay, now just a small tip about the length. Okay, because now we know the width, now the length. This one is a little bit longer than this one. So if you draw here an imaginary line parallel to this line, to the horizontal line, it's gonna be longer than this line. So there is a small space here between the imaginary line and the end of this stroke. Okay, so please practice on this one. Okay, write your notes, try to practice on ha letters. So now we have the ha. Now he is almost a small oblique, is almost touching the midline, and then when you make like like a circular move, kind of circular move. Once, if you draw here a line, okay, almost the tip, just a little bit, if you draw here a line, then you can know, this will guide you, when do you bend your stroke. So almost the end, okay, a parallel line, and then you can bend to go up again, and is almost on the same level, almost on the same level, and then you bend down again. So the dimensions of this is very easy. You keep the upper part almost equal in a line. You touch the middle line, and just before a middle line, before touch it, just draw an imaginary line where you will bend your stroke. Okay? Now, let's go to fu. Fu gives an impression of a triangle. Fu, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you notice, the midline controls the middle. So first and second, they are connected on, they are located on the midline. So this, so you can't just write it a little bit right or left. You need to keep it in the midline, these first and second stroke. Now the third and the fourth, if you draw here an imaginary line, they will be touching the tip of this imaginary line, an oblique imaginary line. Okay? This way, if you follow an oblique imaginary line here, and if you use the midline and you put this, the first and the second and the right location in the midline, you're really making a triangle. And try to keep these, if you draw here a line, try to keep them close to, like almost in the, near to the parallel horizontal line. Okay, so this one a little bit, it should be a little bit lower actually in the midline. Okay, so this one should be a little bit lower. Okay, a little bit lower, because we need it. We need on the mid. We need the horizontal parallel line. They are almost on the same line. This way you organized the location of each of these letters. Okay, guys. This will be a little bit up, but that's fine, from this imaginary line. Okay, guys. Now, practice this. You will if you try to write down this without these dimensions, you will see that it's not organized at all. Okay, that will be difficult for the Japanese to read your handwriting. Now, the he, he, hu, he is really an easy stroke. It's one stroke. The end is a little bit lower than the first part. I try to keep the 2/3 to 1/3. So this is 1/3, almost 1/3, and this is 2/3 of the first part. Okay? And just bear in mind that you bend before you reach the midline. Okay? Why do I care about these points? Because I need to make, if I'm writing a word, hiragana, word written by hiragana, I need to write them in a straight line. I cannot allow my hiragana to be more on the right and more on the left and then more on the right. It's not gonna give a good impression about you. Good handwriting will give a good impression about you. Okay? Just decent enough, good enough. Now, ho. First stroke. Okay? Then, second stroke, then third stroke. So this part is the fourth stroke. Okay guys, so the first stroke, the second and the third, and then the fourth. Now try to draw an imaginary line on this side, an imaginary line on this side. Okay, almost equal distance between these two imaginary lines from the midline. So midline, imaginary line parallel to this imaginary line, equal distance. You draw this first on the equal on this imaginary line, and then you go to the second, to the third. Notice that it stops on the tip. All these tips, okay, of these strokes will stop in the parallel midline, and they are almost on the same lower line. Okay, almost on the same. Now guys, so and this one is almost on the same line, so it's really like a square, kind of a square. Okay guys, so anyway guys, I hope this helps, and try writing these hiraganas, and share with us your input and your experience. So stay tuned for the next line, the M line, Mami Mo Memo. We're gonna talk about. So stay tuned guys. See ya.